Hey, Manny. What's going on? Whoa, let's get ready to smell some samples!
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hey guys, welcome to J Royal. My name is James and this is Manny. Today on the Royal Rumble, we're not doing a bottle battle, we're doing a decant duel. This decant duel is from my favorite house, Xerjoff. Hashtag X-Man. I love Italian perfumery in general, and these three fragrances are probably some of the most sought after Xerjoff fragrances, period. Manny and I are going to try each fragrance on our skin. We're going to give you our live very first impressions. We have not smelled these before, ever. And then we're going to let it dry down for a bit, come back later and tell you what we think. So the first fragrance we're trying is Alexandria 2. I have two samples that are a bit of a dab situation, so we may have to dab on them. Check it out, guys. I am caressing myself.
He is swiping right.
Just for the record, 5 dips and swipes, just to keep it consistent.
Am I wrong? Is it just a powdery wood, but like a really high quality one?
It's very powdery.
I'm not sure I understand.
You don't know what powdery means? Perhaps a bit of rose?
I'm thinking like the classic like rose oud style combination. This right here is like a lovely, night out kind of wear. If you're like classy like that or super opulent, niche quality, then maybe I would be wearing this on the daily.
There's a lot of rose oud fragrances that are just that. It's very simplistic. It kind of gets redundant with just, oh, that's the rose and that's the oud and that's it. But this one, there's so much more to it. Maybe even a bit of patchouli. There is kind of a resiny sort of green quality in there too.
A damp quality.
Yeah.
That leans earthy.
Alexandria 2, very, very impressed so far. Next up, we have Xerjoff Rich Wood. Another dab situation. Thank you, Manny. This is Rich Wood, first impressions. Okay, a lot more rose prevalent in this one.
Yeah, the rose absolute strikes me as like a darker rose.
This doesn't really smell like a rose oud. There's rose and there's woods, but it's lighter. It's a bit lighter than an oud palau, for example.
But no, I'm not as much of a fan because mainly because it's a harder wear. But if you're into, a decent amount of rose oil percentage, I'd definitely say give this a shot.
It is a very nice rose. I've smelled a lot of synthetic roses, obviously tuberose. I'm not completely blown away just because I own Portrait of a Lady. So this would probably be a redundant fragrance for me.
I swear we're straight.
Yes, we are. Totally. Girls are the best. Great quality fragrance, but not necessarily as mind-blowing as Alexandria was based off of the first impression. Finally, the last fragrance that we're going to look at, and the one that I have the most of and actually have a spray sample of, Pikovaya Dama.
It's lovely.
Wow.
It's brighter than I thought it would be.
There's an airy quality to it, like maybe some aldehydes.
Yeah, which I'm all about. It hits your nose.
Kind of a neroli vibe too. Just that sort of light floral aspect.
There's a part of Xerjoff trying to channel something classic, but I like it, so.
It's interesting that you said classic because I remember doing a bit of research on this fragrance before I got it. And apparently there was a Russian fragrance from like 1940s, 50s called Pikovaya Dama. And apparently it's a very sought after old school classic fragrance. So maybe they're trying to channel some of that classic nature in this fragrance, which is cool that you picked up on that. There's an effervescent quality to it. It's sparkling. It gives me a similar vibe to like a nice glass of like ice cold Sprite. That was our first impression of Pikovaya Dama. We're gonna take a little breather. We're gonna come back and we're gonna smell the dry downs and tell you what we think. See you in a bit. And we're back. It's been about 2 hours and we're ready to show you the dry downs and our impressions of them. So starting with Alexandria 2. It's just so good. It's toned down a little bit.
Especially on the rosy quality.
Yeah, the rosy quality has faded and there's almost a dustiness to it. It's a little more rugged. Definitely is a little more masculine. It's one of those fragrances where I can't really think of another fragrance that develops like this, which is always a huge plus for me. We do want to find new fragrances, creative things for the art of fragrance, and I think it fulfills it for me. Keep in mind, these are our first impressions, and although we did technically wear these fragrances, it's not the same as actually putting it on you and spending the day with it. Just so you know. Next up, we have Rich Wood.
Rich Wood.
Now the rose in this one is still prevalent.
That being said, I just feel like it's more potent fragrance, period, because of that.
I don't get stank with this fragrance. I don't get your typical oody stank. It's a soft wood, it's a bit flaccid. When you hear the name, first you take your head out of the gutter, and then you would think, okay, rich wood, you know, regal wood, perhaps maybe Middle Eastern. I would think the fragrance would be a bit darker, deeper, maybe more masculine, but at the opposite end of the spectrum, I get a little more of a feminine quality because of the abundance of rose.
Yeah.
I don't really want to shit on this, but it sort of plays in the same ballpark as a Noir de Noir or a Portrait of a Lady. It's a rose fragrance that if you wear it correctly, it would work pretty nicely. So that's our impression of the dry down on Richwood. The third fragrance we're looking at is Pikovaya Dama, the Queen of Spades.
She's a queen, all right.
She's a queen. She is a queen. It's remarkable how sparkly it still is.
Yeah.
This honestly smells like we just sprayed this on. It's very, very vibrant and still just going and going after 2 hours, which is unheard of for this kind of fragrance. I would say the scent is fairly similar to how it opened up. I wouldn't call it linear by any means, but it just retains that beautiful sparkling quality.
I typically like sparkling quality as well, but with this, it's almost too much. I know for a fact that it's gonna be hitting the rear part of my olfactory.
There are certain fragrances where you purposely do not want to spray them on the top of your chest or on your neck, because with this kind of profile, it can choke you out almost physically. Like there is a physical sensation.
I'm doing it right now.
So that was our take on Pikovaya Dama. Dry down. Being a Royal Rumble, we need a victor. Taking everything into consideration, which one to you is potentially bottle worthy?
Alexandria 2.
Yay! I know that you're actually a fan of the perhaps a little more delicate fragrances. So it's interesting that you went with potentially the darkest one of the three.
I already have Chanel's for it, as far as Queen of Spades. As far as Richwood, I already have, you know, rose patchoulis and rose ouds, you know, of other brands and stuff like that.
For me, my choice for favorite of the three, it's no surprise, guys, Alexandria 2. It takes the cake. The other ones, they're beautiful, pretty unique, especially Pikovaya Dama, but they're redundant in my collection at this point. Once you start getting really into collecting, there comes a time where you can only have so many rose patchouli fragrances. You can have so many rose oud fragrances, especially as a guy. You really want to hand select which fragrances that work for you. With Pikovaya Dama, I do think it's gorgeous. It's a stunning fragrance, but I can't justify getting a full bottle of that. To me, Richwood and Pikovaya Dama do lean feminine. Believe it or not, I don't really portray myself as a manly dude on camera, but in the real world, when I'm doing business, I macho it up a little bit. So I need a fragrance that can do that as well. Alexandria 2, beautiful, really unique, and yet there's still that sort of Leighton-esque mass appealing quality to it.
I agree.
Like even a Leighton exclusive, it's masculine, it has a lot of those masculine qualities to it, a bit of oud in there, but they're both undeniably likable fragrances within the niche world. So that's it, guys, for this epic Xerjoff decant duel on Royal Rumble. Manny, love your presence. Your sweater is super fly, showing some skin for you guys. Free of charge. Yeah, I know you're about to slide into my DMs, but all of our links to the Facebook group, Snapchat, and Instagram are down below. And if you've already subscribed to both of us, I think we can say that we love them because we love our supporters. And our winner is my girl, Alexandria. 2. Peace.
Tomara que a Júlia seja muito feliz com a escolha dela.